dive into JavaScript objects. So we've been using some objects in our examples, but here we're going to concentrate solely on objects. So let's say we have an object person, which we've been using in few of our examples. So here we are creating an object, and the object is the person, and every object have some qualities. So for example, for a person, the person will have a name, and I can say a name like what, Peter, and the person can also have, will a person have age, and then a person have a gender. But if we haven't something like object car, then some of the qualities are optional. But we know for a person, definitely the age is automatic, and the name and all that. So let's say we want to display a name using similar here in the object. We can simply do display name, and then we'll have a function let me do this function. Let's do alert, then we'll have this dot name. Okay, so we have display name function alert this dot name. So let's see what we got here. Okay, so here we have a person, and the name, the age, the gender, and now we have a simple function in there which alerts and then display the name of the person. But now we have not displayed anything on the screen, even though we have some function which have an alert with the display.name. We still need to call these function properties in here, or the function values we have in here, before it displays on the screen. Okay, so let's start with the name, and we can do document.write, and then we can have the person dot the name. So let's see what we got on the screen. So we have a name Peter, right? So let's say we want to print more. Here I want to move to the next line to it. So I use the break tag, and let me end this. In the next line, we simply want to print the age. The next line, we simply want to print the gender. Okay. Then we have Peter 24, and then we have male. What if we want to console log our person object? So console log, then we have person objects logged in here. So anytime we check our console, we're gonna see everything inside the object: the age, the gender, and then we have the name, then we have the function in which we display in there. So the function, if you check the function, it simply alerts this dot name inside. Nothing else is happening in that function. Okay, so we have now display everything inside the object, even including the function that we got inside there. Okay, so what else can we do with object? We can do quoting property names of an object. Quoting property names of an object. So for example, we can quote the name. If we change this one, if we change the name to a quote, for example, this way, and then we change the age to a quote like this, and then we change this one, let's say the gender. We can still call the gender even if we leave it like this, but let me take off this. I just wanted to demonstrate how far we can go with objects. That's why I added this side in here. For this example, we want to call a person using another way of doing it. Instead of using person.name, we can simply use person, a square bracket here, then we can have in quote the name inside. That's another way of calling the object. So instead of person.age, we can call person, and inside here we call the age. Then we can do that with the gender as well. Then we have gender. Okay, so we still have the same thing there. So you see, we did not actually have a quote around this gender, but it still works the same as the ones we have quote, age, and name to it. So you see, we can still display the properties inside the object with the quote or without quote, and still print out the values in there with this way of doing it. So let's say we want to get a property value of an object. We can still call it in the same way. For example, we can use this way to call any object here, and then we can use another way, which means the first way we used to call it, which is person.name, like this, will also work fine. So that means we can call objects in different ways which we want. So this is just getting properties of objects in different ways. So we have this person.name, person age in the bracket, and we have the person in the bracket gender, and we can have extra properties added to it, and then we can call all in the same way. Okay, so let's say if we have something like a 2 words in here, let's say publish or publication. Let's do publication, that is a longer word, date, and we do something like this. Let's say 5th, right, 2024. Can we still call this inside here? Yes, we can, using the same method. So it doesn't matter if it's a single line of word or it's a sentence form. We can simply call the whole thing here inside this side, and it should work perfectly. So mostly this is recommended to call this one because it got two words in there and it's gonna show perfectly. But what if we want to try this one dot the publication? What happens? So let's see, this is plus, yes, yeah. When it goes like this, it looks like it wants to work, but when it opens up, you see nothing displays and it gives an error. So when you have a sentence form of value in an object, it is highly recommended to use the bracket so that you don't get any error. That is why we have this way of calling values inside an object. But if it's a single word, then we can do the person dot that word, and then everything should be fine on the screen. So accessing properties of an object using the bracket notation is probably good for many sentences for your values inside the object. So let's have an example where we can have a prompt to enter something and it can change a value inside a property. So let's say a dynamic way of accessing properties using variables inside an object. So for example, let's have up to gender, and instead of this, here, let me comment this so that we use a different variable. So we say let key is equal to prompt. So we're gonna perform a dynamic way of accessing objects using variables. So here we'll have enter any property name to get its value. So we have property like name, age, and gender. So here, let's this variable key equal to prompt enter any property to get what? To get its value. So to get the value and then print out, we need to use an alert or something to print out on the screen for us. So I'm using an alert. Then we have person, then the key here. Okay, then I end it like this. So I load. Let me see, let me check what I just did. Oh, the code was wrongly done, so need to put star and then this one here. Okay, great. So we say enter any property name to get the value. So let's say we enter the property name and then we get the value of Peter. What if we want to get age? We enter age there and then we get the value of age. The next one is gender and then we get a value of male. So this is a dynamic way of accessing properties in in objects. And we can also apply loops on our object as well. So let's try that in this example. So let's say we want to iterate over an object property so it displays everything at once. Good. So we can use the for loop we just studied in our other videos, which was showing the way of iterating values inside your project. So let's say let I in person iterate something for us using the for loop. Then we can have the document dot write to display it on the screen. So inside the document dot write, we're gonna have the person, and then we call the variable I we've used in there. Then we'll have a break here so that there will be spaces in our display. So let's have this here. Now let's see what we got. Let me click this first, then I load. So we have Peter 24 and then male. So it's simply using this for loop for our iteration. So let's set the properties of an object. So for example, if we have some values and we want to set a new property to that, it should also work perfectly. So how do we set additional properties in our object? We can do that by calling the object. For example, we want to add a country to this person object we have. We can call the object name, which is person, then we can add another value to it, which is country. Then we will say this is what USA, and when we add that to it, we can now display the country from the same object, because we have called the object and then assign the value or the property we got here and assign a value to it. So let's check this real quick. Document.write, and then we have our person dot the country, which we just added here, and then let's check that. So now we get USA also displaying there. So we can also have another way of setting emails to our property, which is also very easy to do. So I copied this here. Let me add the next, go to the next row, which is using the break, the BR, and here I want to assign another value to property, but this time around I want to use an email. So email, I'm using the square bracket and then the email here. Then the value assigned to the property will be probably, let's say, peter@gmail.com. okay, peter@gmail.com, and let's print out this. It's gonna be peter.email. Then let's check that. So we get that on the screen. So we can, always set the properties of an object outside the object by calling the name and then adding the property and assigning a value to it. What if we want to update an existing property? For example, if we want to update age, how would we do that? Very simple. So let's say update. properties. Let's say existing properties. So, and let's say we want to do age, right? So we use person.age, and then we assign a new value to it, which is, let's say 30, and we want to print that. So document dot write, and then we get person dot age. Okay, then let's check that. So we have 30 coming here, even though we're calling the age here is 24, but we have updated that age 24 to 30 here. So that is how we can update any of the properties inside our object. But what if we want to remove a property inside an object? Okay, so if we want to simply remove a property inside our object, so let's say remove, we can simply do that by using a delete keyword. And so let's say we want to delete age, so delete person dot age. Okay, then when I do document dot write, and I call person dot age, person dot age, this is what I'm gonna get, undefined, because it has been what, deleted from our object. Okay, so let's try to call the methods of an object, or methods of an object. So we try to add method here inside our first example. So I'm going to type that real quick. So we had a method inside an object, and this is how we display these method inside the object. So the method here simply means adding a function to your object. That is what we call the method. So very easy, it's just a function inside an object. It's called a method. So let's add the function here, and this function only performs a display of string, so nothing fancy in here. So let's say document dot write this dot name. So great. So this dot name, we are referring to this name here. So if we call this method, it should go and call this name and display this Peter on the screen. So how do we call that? I can simply add it to this side. So let me have let's say display methods in objects. Okay. Alright, so to display a method, we simply have to call the person just the way we do, and then we add the name of the method to our object. Then we end it like this. So on the screen we should have Peter displaying here at the end. So we can duplicate several of this. For example, we can have let's say display age, and this dot age, and we can call that one to here, and then we'll display the age as well. But don't forget, we deleted the age here, so it should give us an undefined. So Okay, so we have Peter undefined, but if we comment this 2 here, should give us the age 24 here on the screen, because we have commented the delete age there, so we got 24 here. Okay, so this is also an interesting way of having method inside object inside JavaScript. So let's do our JavaScript copy by value. So if we want to learn copy by value, what we have to do is to have this example of let me demonstrate it with an example here. So this is learning JavaScript copied by value. Okay, so copy by value, let's look at this example. Then we have Hello Kitty here. Okay, then we have another variable called great, which is assigned to message. Okay, so copy by value. So let me add another one here. So we say greet is equal to what? Hi there. Okay, so here we've assigned this message to a new variable called greet. Okay, and we have added a sentence to this variable called greet. Okay, so when we print out message, what do we think we'll get? We're gonna get this here. Okay, so let's demonstrate that. We see, so copy by value, documents, right. Okay, then we have message here. Need some space in there, so okay, so on the screen we have Hello Kitty. Good. So copy by value in JavaScript. Here we have a variable which is assigned to a sentence, Hello Kitty, and then we have assigned this sentence to this variable because this variable holds the sentence, and then we have assigned this another variable to this sentence here. So simply put, this side is gonna be what? Hello Kitty here, and inside our Hello Kitty variable we have assigned another value here, and this one is hi, is what? Hi there. So anytime we print the message here, it's gonna print Hello Kitty, but anytime we print hi there or we print greetings, it's gonna have this hi there. So that means we copy this value into this variable and we overwrite this one with this. Okay, so when I print the next one here, only greetings, we're gonna get another value showing up in there. So we have Hello Kitty for the first one, and then we have hi there in here. But what if I comment this and then I display only greetings there? What will happen? We're gonna see Hello Kitty from here, because this value has been copied into greeting. That is what we call copy by what value in JavaScript. That means one string has been copied into another string based on the value we have in there. Okay, another way we want to also look at copy by reference. Okay, so copy by reference, let's say we have let's put this one in a comment. This is copy by value, and then let's experiment copy by reference. Copy by reference, let's say we have an object person and we have some values in here. Let's just do name, and then we have Peter here. Then let's do age we have 28. Okay, so in this one we want to understand what we mean by copy by reference. So we have let user is equal to person. So we've simply assigned user to a person, which a person is an object. Great. So here we will say, if we say user dot name, this user dot name is equal to Harry. Okay, then let's do document dot write, and then we'll print person dot name. What happens here is we're gonna have Harry here. Okay, so this is the normal way of calling a name inside an object person. What if we call person, what if we call user dot name? What happens? It's gonna be the same Harry. So this eventually here is simply what? Copy by reference. It means we have this user assigned to every value in this person. So we can call age username, but what we have to do is to call the user and then assign a particular property from this person, and we can assign any value to it, and that is called copy by reference. And what we did here is simply what? Copy by value. So these are the two ways to distinguish between copy by value and then copy by reference. Great.